Well, we can finally see what the problem was with the Arbor and why this thing stopped. So apparently it was not the actual spindle that stopped, that's what I thought it was. It was the cutter that got jammed up and stopped on the Arbor here. And like I said, everything had happened so fast that I just reached up and hit the the emergency e-stop on it to kill everything. So that's what the problem was, is the cutter somehow jammed up and started, well, it got jammed up, and the spindle was still spinning, but the cutter was locked up in the workpiece there. So now I've got a mess there. You can see it just, all it did was just shear the key. But whenever it does this, it just creates a huge mess to try to get out. Now you got a key that's stuck in there because it's not split all the way in half. So you got a key on both sides of the cutter there. So I got to see if I can work that key out of there so that the cutter will come all the way off. I was able to get it in the vise here and actually spin it by hand. You can see I'm turning it right there, but I'm trying to get it lined up with the key again right there. And I'm just trying to file the burr, and I'm hoping that maybe I can drive the key out from underneath the cutter after I get all these burrs worked off there, and try to file the key down some. And I'll see if I can get the key out of the way, and then I think we can get the cutter off. Go. I honestly would not have thought that this cutter would have bound up like that, cutting that aluminum plate. It has not happened to me before. And there's our key. Now I'm going to check the Arbor to see if it's bent, and if it is, how far out it is. I put a laid dog on there. Use the shim underneath the set screw. There's a burr underneath that, right at the front edge of where that spacer goes, that I can't really get with a file. I just can't reach in there and get it. So I'm going to try to see if I can press it off there. Everything will just have to be deburred and filed and cleaned up. Yeah, that's working right there. Use gloves so you don't pinch your fingers right there. All right. The burr is right in there. I just couldn't get it. Let's see. Yeah, it's still right there. So now I'll go ahead and I'll just take a smooth file and file the burr so that this one will slide off of there. Well, I got to thank my buddy Jason over at Fireball Tool, man. He sent me another one of his fixture plates here. This one is his 24 by 12 fixture plate there. So this is double the size of the ones that he already produces, and this is a new size that he's now offering. And you can see there, it's 24 inches long and it is 12 inches wide. This is the raw casting right there. So Jason offers these in a machined finished product, to where these are actually drilled holes where you can mount it down to your own frame or your own table, you know, maybe a table like this, to where you would use this for welding fixturing. I told him a while back, whenever he was producing these 24-inch fixture plates, that I wanted to get a hold of one, so he sent me one. So Jason, thank you very much. We are getting ready to start machining this, because over on the K&T, I've still got my Carver machine vise set up from doing that prism straight edge for Lance. So while that vise is still set up over there, I can go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and clamp it this way right there, you know, long ways. And we're going to go ahead and mill the bottom side right here using a face mill. And I want to go ahead and get the sides milled in there. I'm just going to use an end mill to mill all the sides. And then once I get all that done, you know, we'll have the top side to do, but I want to use the shaper to finish it. So we will use the G&E to finish cutting this thing in, get it nice and flat, and put my my nice parallel machining marks on there that I like. So looks like we've got a little bit of low right there in the casting, a little low spot right there. So that shouldn't be any problem for what this is used for, just a fixture plate. Once you get that machined, you know, we'll have a series of holes drilled and tapped on this, so that, you know, you can put hold down hardware and clamps anywhere you need. So like I said, we're going to go to the K&T and start milling in the sides and the bottom while I've got that milling head set up and the vise set up, because I have another project for the K&T. So we're going to get this portion of it done that I was talking about first, and then I'm going to set it to the side so I can work on another project and get that one going there as well. But let's go ahead and start on the bottom of this right here. This kind of stuff right here is another reason why I wanted to get the skyhook to be able to help me pick up heavy objects onto either the mill or the lathe, where I'm not having to strain my lower back. So this is going to work out great. This is our first work piece that we're going to be using the skyhook for there. So I just got it mounted up to this side because it's working out convenient for me to put the cart right here and swing it around right where it needs to be. The handle would be a little bit better if it was over on this other side, but it still works right there. So all I got to do, if I really needed, if that was inconvenienced, is just mount the skyhook down here on this side. But for now, we're just going to do it right here. Nothing to it. It makes it effortless. Alright, still got to find my parallels, but I wanted to make sure everything was going to line up here. Swing it in place, and looks like it's working out pretty good. Perfect. So we'll get some parallels under it first. Alright, I was going to use my nice big parallels here. This is perfect height, 2 inch, but the problem is that they're going to be the same width as what I'm trying to mill this to, so this would be in the way, and I really don't want to turn them at an angle or anything. I just want to put them across the ends just like you normally would. So we're going to pull these guys out of here. I'm going to use some 1, 2, 3 blocks as parallels. So I keep a lot of these in my cabinet. These are just the El Cheapo 1, 2, 3 blocks, and I've already mic'd all 4 of these. All 4 of these mic within 2/10 of a thousandths, within being the same height there. So perfectly fine for this type of work right here. Work good. I'm just going to put them down here by the vise jaws. good right there. And we'll go ahead and lower it in. I'm just going to center it up on these jaws right here. Before I get everything clamped in tight, let's go ahead and lower it down. Before I get everything clamped in, I want to be sure that where this is positioned right there, that I can offset Y all the way over enough to be able to have an end mill on this side. I may not be able to reach that far, but I'm going to double check it before I start. All I should have to do really is just kind of push this over. You know, we can just kind of push it that way, I'm thinking, just like that, and that should have enough room to come over here with this milling head and mill this side. So that's what I'm hoping for right there. All right, everything's looking good. Go ahead and just tighten it up to hold it right here. I've got my wrench over here. Just enough to hold it. All right, so happy to have this right here. Save on lifting things up onto these tables. I think there's going to be a change of plans on how I want to approach this. So I already verified that, you know, I could mill this side over here, but I cannot move the table over far enough to get to this side here as well. Even if I slid it over that way, it's just there's not enough distance in between the column and where the milling head, where the cutter is. So what I want to do, I want to get this face milled. I got a new face mill that's actually supposed to be here today, and I wanted to try that out on this face right here. This is a perfect setup for that. For the two sides, you know, there's different ways you can go about doing this. We can mill one side, flip the thing around, mill the other. That doesn't guarantee parallelism there, you know, so you're going to be going back in and cutting it again for a second op. I think what I'd like to do is do an operation on this mill that I haven't shown on the channel before, and that's gang milling. So I think I'm going to set up an arbor and have an exact 12-inch spacing. We'll have a cutter on both sides, and we'll go down and we're going to cut this thing in one shot. Once it comes down and cuts that, it'll actually be whatever width I've got the spacers spaced out there, which is going to be 12 inches. But we're going to do that later since we got the vertical head set up. I may go ahead and flip it 90 degrees and just go ahead and get these ends milled with this end mill here, you know, using the vertical head, get the top of it milled, and then we'll break the setup down and go with our horizontal setup to do the gang milling. Okay, Jeff from over at ITS Supply stopped by just a little bit ago and dropped off my new face mill. So this is the one that I decided to go with, and it was a recommendation from them. And so the Tungaloy brand, it takes these square inserts, and we got a total of 5 inserts. So one pack right there, you know, will give you enough to fill this out 2 different times. But you have 8 different corners there that you can use on these carbide inserts there. So the inserts themselves is an SNMU, and the grade that we picked out is just a general purpose grade recommended for steel and cast iron, which is generally what I end up machining there. So I can't say how long it's been since I've had a brand new face mill in the shop here. So this is pretty cool. This is a nice one to have. I had a 2-inch, I use a 2-inch and a 6-inch, and I told Jeff I'd like a 3-inch. So that's what we went with, is this 3-inch right there. And also the new tool holder. This is a TMX, this is a Polish made. And you know, the Tungaloy face mill here is made in Japan. And I did have to make a modification. The bolt that came with the TMX tool holder, this is the bolt that came with it. I had turned that down to 20 millimeters to fit inside here because it was too big. But I knew that the thread length was probably not going to be correct, and it wasn't. So luckily, I was digging through my stash and I found the perfect size bolt that I needed. I also had to turn it down to 20 millimeter. So now I have the correct size bolt there to hold the face mill onto this new tool holder. So really excited about having a new cutting tool in the shop. We're going to get this sucker mounted up, and then we're going to go over to the K&T and use it on the fixture plate machining. I've got the face mill set up in the start over. Okay, I got the face mill set up. We are ready to go. I'm going to be running 300 feet per minute on the surface speed. So we're actually running 438 RPM. So it's right around 350. And then feet per tooth, I've got it set. Well, I was going to go for 5 thousandths for feet per tooth, but we're going to be running 9.5 inches per minute on our feed. And I think that's sort of like the middle of the range for this one. It says anywhere from 2 thousandths to 12 thousandths feet per tooth. So we'll just run 9.5 inches a minute. I think that should be a good conservative number to cut this on. I've already touched off, and I don't know how flat this is with the bottom there. So I fed it down, or fed the table up 1/16 of an inch, so about 60 thousandths. We'll start with that. We'll go all the way around and cut the middle and see if that makes it flat. Looking good so far. Come out here to the center of the end rib, and then we'll feed it towards us. All right, unlock the table here. We got it offset where we can cut this rib, and then move it over, go back and get it all, just, you know, 2 more passes right here. We're wrapping it down to this other rib. We managed to get that cut in that one pass there of 62 thousandths is what I dialed in, and it looks good. It's got a nice finish. You can see where the you know, the feed lines go the other way, but you can't really feel that. But I think it did good. We got a well. There was our one pass across the bottom of it. Our 16th depth of cut, then it looks really good. I love the finish that it made there. Very cool. You can see the direction of feed change, you know, but you can't really feel that. But we are using an old mill, and I'm never going to say that this mill is absolutely perfect. In fact, I guarantee you that this isn't a 100% flat surface right there because of the wear in this table. I think this table moves just very slightly once you get the weight out to one side, and that's another reason why I really love using the shaper for stuff like this, because it'll make just an absolutely flat surface you can get without going to like a grinder. But we're going to roll with that. So I'm going to go ahead and take all this setup down here, the vertical head. We're going to take this off, and I'm going to set up the horizontal, and we are going to give it a try doing our slab milling on this fixture plate.